What up? What up? What up? Sorry, y'all. Lots going on this morning. Juggling some things. It looks like the Fever are at practice at this point in time. I have not seen Caitlin Clark in the footage from what we've seen. And oh, there she is. She is, um, you know, she is standing next to Ari McDonald, giving her a hug, or not Ari McDonald. She is Ari McDonald is in birthday mode on a scooter, is the way it's phrased there in this picture from Tony East. I'm reacting live as we get started here. So there you go. Caitlin Clark giving a hug to Brianne January, it looks like, in that photo. So I don't know if her white shirt signifies a different practice level. I'm sure we'll hear from them soon enough as far as what's going on with the Indiana Fever. And there you go. That's the state of the situation for a team ravaged by injuries. Sophie Cunningham, of course, being the latest, and that's the one that's a huge blow. It's a huge blow in the sense of what she does is hard to replace for the team. This is a squad that doesn't exactly have a bunch of depth on the wing, right? Like they don't have a bunch of players who do that. Lexi Hull is now basically left alone as the only kind of swing player in that sense. So they're going to have to adjust to Sophie Cunningham's absence on the floor from a roster standpoint as well. As they make a move or whatever move that they make, which I don't believe they can do until after Sophie misses a game. But then they will be eligible for another hardship at that point in time. So I would imagine that next move, that subsequent move, is someone who plays the position that Sophie Cunningham plays. So now that you look at it and you try to assess it, you think, is the season worth salvaging? Is there still a season? And I understand, like, it felt that way, like, on Sunday when Cunningham went down. It felt that way when Cunningham went down, where it was like, that's it, right? There goes the season, especially when the Fever were down in that game, especially when they were trailing in that game by as much as they were trailing in that game. But as I said after that Sun game, I did feel like the spirit of the season was saved, that they saved the season from that sense. And after that, of course, you get the official word on Cunningham. But I always assumed Sophie was kind of done for the season on Sunday. I would have been pleasantly surprised if it was something else, if it was a lesser injury. And it turns out it's not. And therefore, she's done. That's 3 season-ending injuries in like 2 weeks. Right? Like, so Ari McDonald, it's not funny. You have to laugh to keep from crying, as they say, right? Ari McDonald done for the season. Sydney Colson done for the season. And now Sophie Cunningham done for the season. Tough. The Fever have had to make how many on-the-fly signings as of right now? They had to go sign Ari McDonald on the hardship deal. They've had to sign Odyssey Sims on the hardship deal. Kyra Lambert, they tried out. Now, another signing was just made in order to try to adjust Shea Petty. And before that, you also have Chloe Bibby being added on the fly, not in a hardship situation, but because of the Duana Bonner absence. So all those things factor into just how injury ravaged the team has been. And I've seen people out there saying, like, they should tank the season. They should tank the season. I just couldn't disagree more with that. It's just wrong in the spirit of sports. It's wrong in the spirit of what this team has fought for to get to this point, to this juncture. It is, a slap in the face. It's the weakest shit in the world, really. The idea of tanking to possibly move a spot or two or something like that after what has taken place this season for the Fever. So, no, I don't believe the Fever should tank. That's ridiculous. They've shown too much integrity, too much fight, too much heart, too much everything that's synonymous with that for that to even be something that's considered. Right? So, no. The next question comes, and I'm sure hopefully we get some sort of wording update on Caitlin Clark. The next thing is her. And there's debate about whether it's worth her to return or not. I mean, that ultimately all boils down to her health. If Caitlin Clark can get back to 100% healthy, there is no reason for her not to return. If, that first part of that sentence is the most important part. Please, no one misconstrue what I'm saying. Take it out of context, blow it up, blah, blah, blah. If she can return 100% healthy, there is no reason for her not to take the floor. You only get so many cracks at these things. Careers are not that long. Even in the beginning of careers, they're not that long. You never know. You only get one chance, one opportunity, not mom's spaghetti, all those things. Right? I don't know how you could watch what the Fever did on Sunday and then after that justify packing it in. And that's if you're Caitlin Clark too, watching. Again, contingent on health. I don't know. It's been very vague. I don't know where she is exactly. I know she's going to need time to ramp up. She should not risk her long-term health if there is a chance she gets re-injured, if she's not ready, all those things. Duh. I'm saying if she is in line in the progression, you always have a chance when you have Caitlin Clark on the floor. And you put Caitlin Clark on the floor next to Aaliyah Boston and next to Kelsey Mitchell. The way Kelsey Mitchell's been playing, how is that backcourt not a threat to anybody? How? And there is a long offseason in the WNBA. So if Caitlin isn't back, this season, she might not play again until May. And there may be a reward toward playing and returning to the floor in the sense of the spirit that it reminds everybody of, reminds everybody who she is, going into a free agency where everybody is on the table, essentially. But mystery is the word of the day and the word of this entire situation, even when it comes to Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark's situation.
Yeah.
It really does suck, but
is Caitlin close? How's she coming along?
Dude, I don't know. Everyone keeps asking, everyone's like, and I'm like, literally, she doesn't even know. Like, it's just like a day by day legit type of thing. And so, yeah, she's close, but like, you also have to remember, like, she could be playing if it wasn't in the WNBA by now, but like at this level with how deep and like how good people are nowadays in our league, which is the best it's ever been, like you can't just be good. You have to be on top of your game. And so just trying to get her back in game shape, I think is what they're trying to do. But like, again, it's literally a day by day. I'm not holding out any information. I just literally don't know.
Did you see Skip Bayless said that the WNBA is lying about her injury?
Dude, that's literally bullshit. Like, no one's lying. No one, that's not.
He said maybe Caitlin Clark has taken a couple of injury breaks just because she needed a mental break from all the jealousy and resentment and bullying and cheap shots.
Okay, here's the thing. When you're an elite level player, you not being able to play is the hardest part. Mentally, physically, emotionally. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not playing. It's when you're playing is like when it's a part of it. Like you're built for that. So when people say stuff like that, I'm just like, just shut up.
So that is Sophie Cunningham, who also said, by the way, the Bria Hartley thing was not on purpose, which I didn't think it was on purpose myself. I never thought it was on purpose. And this practice of finding like a screen grab and like she's smiling, like you can frame a lot of things in an instant in a grab like that to mean something. That doesn't mean she hasn't had reckless plays in the past or a reputation. But watching sports my whole life, watching basketball my whole life, playing basketball my whole life, and watching that play, I did not see anything that made it seem like it was intentional. As far as, Caitlin Clark's situation, it's not as if what Sophie just said shined too much more light on that ordeal. Still a little bit in the wool over our eyes situation. We'll see. I guess, I would have to imagine that topic comes up again at practice. I'll keep an eye on it as we're live. I got pushed back a little bit today, so that's part of the situation here. Trying to keep abreast as it's going on. Again, she was seen on the floor. Looked like it was Brianne January she was hugging, but no idea if she was actually back at practice. No idea where she's actually at in the timeline. And that's where we sit. But regardless of Caitlin Clark's situation, the team should not tank. Regardless. And if Caitlin Clark is healthy, she should play. That's my opinion. That's ultimately in her court. The ball's in her court and in their court. But that's how I feel about it. If she is indeed healthy, she should play. There you go. Chloe Peterson said she was sitting off to the side in the portion of practice open to the media. Ari McDonald and Sophie Cunningham were sitting with her. So, no word. We'll see if we get some. But it was just Sunday when Stephanie White said that they hope she comes back. And I don't know. The only thing that's changed from Sunday till now is that Sophie Cunningham got hurt. Now, is that enough to change your entire thought process if you're the Indiana Fever? That's a question they can answer. But I don't know how that would, completely derail the plans if they're still alive and she was on track to return, especially after seeing that effort. But I don't know where she was on her track to return. I've thrown up my hands in the air trying to understand that. I would like some clarity and a little bit more specifics personally. Then there's the other thing I got crushed on online today about, which was, I said, if the season were to end today, I would probably vote A'ja Wilson for MVP. And, that's, people think, it's funny, like predetermined narratives and all that stuff comes up and agendas and all that stuff comes up. I can't let any of that factor into how I judge something like this. My decision, my vote, my opinion would all come down to what I think. And the bottom line is, A'ja Wilson has been dominant as of late. Absolutely dominant as of late. And that coincides with an 8-game winning streak for the Las Vegas Aces. An 8-game winning streak. And when you take that into account and you see what, the team has done, where they've risen in the standings to number 2 in the standings, or almost number 2, I'm sorry, a half game out of number 2. How do you not start to make a case for A'ja Wilson when Nafisa Collier's been out? I mean, Nafisa Collier has been the MVP favorite all season long. Deservedly so. She's been brilliant for the Minnesota Lynx. But in the time that she has been out, A'ja has come on. And the Aces have risen behind her value. This ain't about predetermined votes or agendas or narratives. It's about what's happening in front of our faces. And you could say it's recency bias, but the recent games are a part of the season. And games played matter too. You don't have value in the games you don't play. A'ja's been on the floor more than Nafisa Collier. The Aces have climbed while Collier's been out, and the Lynx did pretty well without Nafisa. Now, Nafisa still has a chance to come back and take the lead in the race again. She still has the lead as far as the markets are concerned. But to me, if I was casting my vote today, I would go with A'ja Wilson. And that's really what I got to say about that. She leads in points or rebounds, blocks, and is right there in points. Very, very close. So I'm about to pass out. I'm on I think I'm at about 24 hours of a fast right now. I never it's hard for me to lose weight without just not eating. That's the best way to lose weight, not eating. And the longer, I'm going here, the more lightheaded I'm starting to feel. It's about time for me to eat. But look at me. I'm doing a live show in the midst of it. I think 1 p.m. is 24 hours since I've eaten any food. I had an apple at 1 p.m. yesterday, and then I might have had lunch at 2. So we're getting there. I'm trying to push it to 24 hours. Anyhow, member chats, super chats go first. Not trying to commandeer for too long. I got the main points out of the way there for the day. What do you think? Send them in. Member chats, super chats. Carol Ryan says, yes, it has and it will come again. What's that? I don't know what that means, but you're a member, so I'm putting that up first. Like I promised. An hour later, that's better for me. Sorry for the runaround. I wanted stuff that we were working on this morning settled before I went live. Fever are indeed the walking wounded, as Kevin Zwicker put it. Who could they possibly add? Aerial Powers is the name that's most often mentioned. I mean, look, this is the thing about fan backlash at this point in time. It's what do you want, who do you want them to have and be available? That's why it's funny when I see the criticisms of the moves, because there are it's not exactly like the second coming of Elena Deladon is just sitting there available at this point in time. Brett Atwood says, I'm fatigued being a fan of this team. I mean, it's been a hell of a season, that's for sure. I don't, it's been something. Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. That's basically been the tale of the season for the Fever. Savage Coffee Tea says we should set up a GoFundMe called Sophie Unleashed to pay for all those fines she is getting and let her go. Yo, Sophie stands on business. You gotta, that's part of what you'll miss too. Her ability to stand on business and to not let stuff slide. And to be able to back it up, mind you. That is huge. She's tough. One tough cookie. Even the way she battled through the ankle injuries early in the season. I mean, you just missed that. There's no replacing that. That's for sure. No replacing that. That's for sure. What up, Tay Boogie? Again, member chat, super chats first. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Get my puller in. Hey, I actually made that sound organically. That wasn't for effect. Stern 12, aka Chris, says all tanking does is get the coach and GM unemployed. No staff survives the tank. Well, unless it's a deliberate move by the organization. I mean, you can't really. That's not fair to the coaching staff. But tanking, one, you can't just make players tank. That's ridiculous. And it's insulting. The idea of the Indiana Fever tanking is insulting. Everybody was saying it should shut up. How about that? I'm not pussyfooting around that one. Shut up if you think they should tank. That is the softest shit I ever heard. Go curl up in some Charmin in a pillowcase full of feathers and roll around in your softness with a baby bottle. This team's fought too hard for that. Kevin says, unless CC is shut down for the season, I don't see a reason to tank. When you have a chance to get your star back and the playoffs aren't 100% out of the question, they should go for it and not tank. Yes, agreed. Even if CC's ruled out, you still don't tank. But I would like some clarity on Caitlin Clark sooner rather than later, personally. I mean, I know if Sophie might just be telling the truth too. I mean, that's what I've heard, that it's just a deliberate process. So maybe they don't have better answers than they're giving. But it's been a long sort of holding pattern, I guess, is how I would put it. A long sort of holding pattern on Caitlin Clark's status. Let's see where else we got. Member chats, super chats. Stern is worried about how many minutes CC is playing. This is a good point by Herb and Raj podcast. I don't see how the team could ever explain to Boston and Mitchell that they wanted to tank. Yeah, it's not an option. It's stupid. Twofold says the DB situation hurt the Fever bad, putting more pressure on the 10-man roster and bad form the free front office to sign her. They took a lot of risks knowing the schedule and DB not being fast-paced. Yeah, I mean, they wound up making up for that, I guess. Like, I mean, who knew Ari McDonald would then get hurt for the season? Because if you were just doing that swap, you would be satisfied with Ari McDonald, of course. So I can't, yes, in retrospect, the Bonner signing looks horrific. No question. But I don't think it's the death blow to the season. I don't. Fifth seed MVP. The Aces are not really fifth seed. I mean, like you could say fifth seed. That's a lot of. Look at the seeding right here. Fifth seed is doing a lot of work there. The Aces are a half game back of second. So yeah, technically they're the fifth seed, but they're essentially tied for second. They could finish anywhere at this point, 2 through 5, anywhere the Aces could finish. So I'm not allowing a half a game to undo that opinion. I haven't seen the clip yet. This is from the first episode? Look, I mean, I said that last year about AB. She didn't look ready for the fast pace. She's adjusted very, very well. AB looks great this year. She's played great this year. No question about it. No question about it. And she's faster, svelte, all those things. If the Fever tanked, I would never watch them again. Savage Coffee Tea would not mind seeing Temmie back next year. Maybe Kate Martin too. I mean, we'll see. There are a lot of players available. I mean, that you could make. I have to go back and look at Dontic's contract situation, but Temmie Fagbenle is certainly a more valuable player than Damiris Dontis has been. Dontis shouldn't see the floor. I want to see Bree Turner, to be honest, more. She makes better decisions offensively than KK Timpson, and she's better defensively than Dontis. So that's who I want to see more of, is Brianna Turner. Funny enough. Bree Turner. Who would have thought that we'd get to that point? Get your likes and subscribes in. Again, member chats. Super chats go first. I'm getting a lot of members. Maybe there's a lot of members in the chat. Maybe the fast pass works from a comment standpoint. Let's also schedule the members only chat, the next one. Let me know when you guys want to do that. We can get that on the books. We can get that one on the books and set, actually scheduled. I'm really hungry, guys. It's starting to hit me. You know what happened last night is I was working really hard and finally got done with stuff in a little break in the schedule around like 9:30, and I realized I hadn't eaten. So I got in the car and I went out to go get something to eat because I'm actually home by myself now. So I'm never making food for myself. I'm driving and I'm thinking to myself as I'm driving, wait, I'm not even that hungry, right? I'm not even that hungry. So why would I eat? Let me see if I can push this. I can go to sleep and then I'll wake up and I know I won't be hungry in the morning because I'm never hungry in the morning. So I can push that as far as it can go. I'm kind of like that Seinfeld episode. Maybe this reference dates you, or dates me, when they the tank is close to empty, the gas tank is close to empty, and they keep going to see how long they can push it. That's where I'm at right now. Because sooner or later, in order to think and act properly and function, I'm gonna have to eat. But I'm pushing it as far as I can. Nice comment from Randy. Don't always agree with you, Robin, but I respect your honest, no hype opinions. Thank you. Fair enough. No, I've never asked anybody to agree with anything or everything I say. And I'm happy to present and argue against dissenting opinions. I just like when the opinion has a reason. Like when you say like, oh, you're dumb, or Stephanie White is the worst. Why? I can't argue against your point if you don't have a point. Because those other things are not points. They're just blanket statements. Lazy T9, hey, Robin, why did the Fever keep on signing short guards? Well, they needed point guards with Clark out and Colson out and McDonald out. Needed point guards. And, these like towering point guards who are tall are just not sitting there readily available to be picked up. You have to look at the context of the moves that the Fever are making and where they're at in the season, where everybody else has already tried to address their issues, right? Like everybody else has already made their signings. Everybody else has already addressed their roster issues, cut people, brought people in, blah, blah, blah. The Fever have had to do it multiple times. Like, what tall, good players are available right now? Especially who are point guards. Tay Boogie says the Barbie returned to the bad team. No other reliable players besides her and Atkins need Jeff fired immediately. It's been a disaster of a season for the Chicago Sky. It's actually been a very good season for Angel Reese. She has played very well when she's on the floor. Her field goal percentage has picked up tremendously. that is definitely worth noting. Because I was criticizing it early in the year, and now it's like she's jumped it up a bunch. She's been hooping. I'm not gonna front, y'all. Somebody told me thanks for being honest on the Asia thing. Of course. What would I do otherwise? I find personally Nafisa Collier more likable than Asia. Who cares? Irrelevant. Who cares? The the same thing goes with Angel. Whether or not Caitlin Clark fans root against Angel Reese or Angel Reese fans root against Caitlin Clark, ain't gonna have no sway on my objective analysis of the situation. I'll give you my subjective thoughts and opinions on things, but I gotta look at things for real. I'm not gonna front. It's ball. Twofold says just eat fruit in the morning and eat small portions. You'll be fine. I guess. I'm never hungry in the morning, so that's not really an issue. But, I feel like it's just an unfair equation. How much easier it is to put on weight than it is to drop weight. It should be even. It's not. It's super easy to add weight, and it's super hard to cut weight. And I feel like that scale should be more even. That's my issue. Member chats, super chats go first. As I mentioned, lots of member chats today. I don't know how many members we got now, but it's definitely climbing. Thank you guys for all the participation and all the support in this journey. Started really last year, continuing into this year. Let me refresh my timeline, see if there's any news. No update on Caitlin Clark. She watched practice with other injured players. Stephanie White, when asked if there's an update on Caitlin Clark. Until she can get into practice and until you guys see her in practice, it's really status quo, same as we have been. So there you have it. Can't say it isn't looking more and more bleak for Caitlin Clark's return. But until she's ruled out, she still has a chance to get back. But my confidence is not as high as it once was. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. Until she can get into practice and until you guys see her in practice, it's really status quo. Same as we have been. So they're not ruling her out either, which is, I guess, sort of significant. So I don't know if that's a setback or a commentary on the state of a recovery or what. I'm not sure. It's a unique situation. I'll put it that way. Because I haven't really I'm trying to think of a parallel. I'm trying to think of something that's been similar, especially with a superstar of that level. But, that's the situation. Seems like a bummer to me. To be honest with you. I was just giving you my true initial reaction, but I don't know what the thought process is or timeline is, or is she practicing tomorrow? I mean, that could change things. Lauren Allen, this is ridiculous, not acceptable. More clarity is deserved. I mean, I kind of agree with you, Lauren. Look, I mean, again, unless this clarity is what it is, I mean, that would be the frustrating part of it, I suppose, is if what we're dealing with here is the situation itself. And they are being clear, but the truth is it's not clear. But it's tough. I'm with you in that sense. I'm especially after the time when they said on the broadcast, on the ESPN broadcast, that Caitlin Clark is they hope she returns to practice this week. That's when I felt confident. And now, especially like the sense I had gotten around that time, now, I don't know. We shall see. Day by day. And like Stephanie White seeming annoyed in that tone of talking about it, but I mean, what do you want people to ask? Carol Ryan, it's not cut and dry like a broken bone. Muscle, tendon, and ligament damage is a world of its own. That is that's true too. The W are allergic to timetables. Asia didn't have one. I mean, I don't even know if it needs to have a timetable either. Just like kind of like, here's how close, here's how far, here's how we're evaluating it. Until she can get into practice and until you guys see her in practice, it's really status quo. Same as we have been. I mean, the time, like, she should be kind of healed by now. And in that Sophie bit, she said if it wasn't the WNBA, she could play. And you look at the Fever schedule right now, where are they at? So they play Friday. She's not playing then. Then they play Sunday. And then Tuesday. I mean, they still have 20 days of regular season left before the playoffs. I mean, staying afloat, does that matter? Is that part of it? Is it simply where she is? I can't tell you. I can't tell you. but not exciting news today. This is a common thing. Jumped on late. We certainly want CC 100% healed and well. Is it possible fans being led on that she might return this year has something to do with maintaining? I hope so. I try not to be that cynical. I hope it has nothing to do with that. And it is just the nature of this sort of injury and the timeline being fluid and the recovery process not being linear. Lauren Allen, not to be harsh, but this will lose fans. I want to root for this team, but it's pissing me off and turning me off. No, I understand, Lauren. I understand that emotion. I understand that feeling. I do. Trust me. That makes sense. It does. It's it's a perfectly reasonable, justifiable opinion and feeling. LBW says the remaining schedule is not favorable to the Fever. If they are to make playoffs, CC needs to be back on the quick. Yeah, I mean, well, the one thing that's favorable for them is the situation that the Lynx are in. That is the, the status of it. The Lynx, though, are playing. They played tonight against last night. I'm sorry, against New York. Sorry, I'm like about to pass out due to hunger. To regather my train of thoughts live. The Lynx played last night against the Liberty. They play tomorrow night against the Dream, and then they play the Fever. All of those games on the road. All of those games on the road. That is a rough stretch of schedule for the Lynx. Not to mention the Fever have the Lynx the last game of the season when the Lynx are going to be resting everybody. So they play the Lynx once at full strength, essentially. They've got one game that the Lynx aren't going to play. They've got one game where the Lynx are at an unfair disadvantage, Friday. Not to say the Lynx won't win. They're a better team. But if there's going to be an upset, it would be then. And then the other game against the Lynx. So I don't think the Lynx games are quite as formidable as they are on paper. Between that, you've got Seattle, who is beatable. The Sparks and the Valkyries both beatable. Phoenix, Chicago, DC, and then Minnesota again. So I would say like the hardest game on the schedule remaining is at Phoenix on the 2nd of September. I mean, maybe we start to adjust Caitlin Clark to Friday, September 5th against Chicago. Judging by that latest news, that would be like the next. It's at home. You could even keep her away. I mean, I don't know when they're going to get to practice again. That's the problem. Maybe between the 26th and the 29th. Maybe the 29th against Los Angeles. I mean, but even if it's the 5th, that would give her 3 days back because they do have a break between Tuesday the 2nd and Friday the 5th. That would give Clark a couple days to get into practice, and it would give her 3 games before the playoffs, which is enough. So I keep going back to the fight that the team showed on Sunday. You can't watch that. You can't experience that. You can't feel that and try not to get back. I still think that Fever is the Lynx kryptonite. Without Aerie, Sophie, it's two big guns less. It hurts bad. But with CC, you got a rocket launcher, though. And that's part of like what I think some people miss in this conversation is that Caitlin Clark, do we believe in Caitlin Clark and her abilities at that level or not? Right? There's a reason everybody's always been so pumped for Caitlin Clark. And that's what the term puncher's chance comes from, right? It's when you're in the ring and you're overmatched, but you got the power to knock somebody out. And when you've got Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, you got a puncher's chance against anybody. Ben says, when CC got hurt in the Sun game and I saw her emotional on the bench, my gut feeling was she's done for the season. Looking more and more like a chance. Well, certainly looking more and more like a chance. No question about that. I would say that the emotion on her face then, I had originally more chalked up to the All-Star game and the realization that she was going to have to climb another mountain after fighting to get back. I didn't think of it in terms of the season being over at that moment because that was right before All-Star, if you remember. And I was about to go out to All-Star, and I felt, that hitting at that moment too, to a much lesser degree, obviously. Are we 40? I got another 10 minutes or so, guys, if you want. Let me know. You want to keep hanging out? I'll keep hanging out for a bit. Then I have to go break fast. I don't know, why Clark wouldn't be at practice. When she's going to be at practice. That's the state of affairs. That's the state of affairs. So, like, on one hand, the fight that they've shown and all that is admirable. On the other hand, like, is it all for naught? And the feeling on Sunday, again, I felt when Sophie went down and the Fever were down by 21 points or whatever it was, I did feel like season over. There you have it. But when you look at the rest of the situation and the fight that they showed to get back and the fact that they're still in playoff position and the fact that they still have all-stars on the floor, multiple, plural, and the fact that Caitlin Clark has had a lot of time. Like, let's be real about it. She's had a lot of time. It's been a minute since she's been injured. Now, that doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying that as any sort of message or veiled foreboding commentary. I'm just saying she's had time off to get back. Like, it's been a minute since she's been on the floor. She got hurt on July 15th, I think. Let me look at the calendar. I can tell you offhand if I look at a calendar. July 15th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 5 weeks from injury now. Next Tuesday would make 6 weeks from injury. And that's, where I fall on the situation. She's been out for a minute. Like I would say 4 to 6 weeks is a conservative timeline for what we know of her injury. Now you factor in all the other injuries, that I think is what complicates it the most. But we're right in the middle of what I would say is that 4 to 6 weeks window. And still no clear vision. May just be unpredictable because, the sense that I've got has swung in the last couple of weeks, in the last week or so. When do you guys want to do the members only event? Let me know. Got a couple more minutes here. Get those member chats, get those super chats in. I'm going to go eat in a minute. Click the likes, click the thumbs up, click the subscribes. All of the above. Por favor. Tay Boogie says next Friday. I mean, we can look at next Friday if you guys want. Next Saturday is my birthday. By the way, something that's given me some anxiety lately, if you guys want in on that, my good friend is getting married in September, a month from now, and it's going to be like smack dab in the playoffs, and I'm just like, oh, but I'm like, in the groom party, and he's my good buddy. I got to be there for him. So but scheduling gives me lots of anxiety. But Friday we could do next Friday if people want to do it. Let me know. We got a little time to set it up. Last time, for those of you who are unaware, we had a member chat, and I brought all the members on screen. We had just like a fun kind of lunch hour, chopping it up. But otherwise, I'll probably wrap this sucker up. I don't have too much more to say. AirPods at the wedding, yeah. I got the Sennheiser joints though. I'm an audiophile in that sense. I need the high quality. Next Friday is fine. All right, so we'll think about next. That's my brother's birthday. My birthday is next Saturday. For everybody, also, I did just commit to doing Busted Open for the wrestling fans this Saturday and next Saturday as well. So I'll be doing that Saturday mornings. Doing a bunch of shows over there. That's fun too. Next Friday. All right. Well, let's tentatively plan for next Friday. I'll check in at the beginning of the week and then we'll put it on the calendar after that. Please join EA's playback soon. I thought I was being spammed. I got a message to do that. Where's EA? Tell EA to reach out to me. Then we'll talk about it. So, but I'll do it. I do. And I've done I think EA used to call me on the radio in ESPN New York. Thanks, Carol. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I do my best. Some are going to be better than others, obviously. That's the nature of the biz. But I do my best. Likes, subscribes. I'll give you another 90 seconds or so for any member chats or super chats. Then I got to run out and eat. So the clock is ticking because I am hungry. Or starving is more appropriate. Absolutely starving. I do. I persevered for you. I fought through adversity like the fever. Didn't tank on the show. Didn't give up. Didn't quit. I won't quit. You don't quit either. All right? In Indiana Fever, you don't quit either. Until the next one, y'all.